National interest first. Albanese lays out his red line after 11 demands more access for China as meeting turned intense. Anthony Albanese says he will keep improving relations with China without compromising the national interest, after President Xi Jinping rekindled a key demand that Australia provide greater foreign investment access to Chinese interests, and linked it to increased trade. Following a formal meeting with Mr. 11 on the sidelines of the G20 in Brazil early on Tuesday AEDT, the Prime Minister said his government had managed to secure the removal of all Chinese tariffs and other restrictions on $22 billion of exports, without ceding on sovereignty or national security. We've managed to improve relations without compromising any of Australia's national interest, which we have continued to pursue and will continue to pursue, Mr. Albanese said. This patient, calibrated and deliberate approach has made a difference and has both saved, but also created, many thousands of new jobs in Australia. China's restrictions, imposed on goods ranging from barley to wine during the tenure of the Morrison government, were regarded as punishment for Australia safeguarding its sovereignty and security through foreign investment restrictions and such measures as the foreign interference laws and the Huawei ban. In their third formal meeting in just over 2 years, and on the 10th anniversary of the President's last visit to Australia, Mr. 11 suggested Chinese companies were still not receiving a fair deal. Chinese state media reported Mr. 11 demanding Australia provide a fair, transparent and non-discriminatory business environment for Chinese companies. China is ready to import more high-quality products from Australia, and encourage Chinese enterprises to invest in Australia, the China Daily reported Mr. 11 as saying. In his public comments to Mr. Albanese before their private meeting, Mr. 11 acknowledged the vast improvement in the relationship over the past 2.5 years but said that required ongoing effort, or great care. Now, our relations have realized a turnaround and continue to grow, bringing tangible benefits to our two peoples, he said through a translator. So, this is the result of our collective hard work in the same direction, and should be maintained with great care. I wish to work with you, Mr. Prime Minister, to make our comprehensive strategic partnership more mature, stable and fruitful and inject more stability and certainty to the region and the wider world. Mr. Albanese pushed Mr. 11 on security by raising China's continuing support for Russia's immoral and illegal invasion of Ukraine. Plus he reiterated Australia's position in Taiwan, the usual issues of regional security, such as the South China Sea, and the plight of detained Australian citizen Yang Henjun, who has been handed a suspended death sentence for espionage. Mr. Albanese said he received no response from Mr. 11 on these issues. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who met Mr. 11 immediately before Mr. Albanese, pushed the Chinese leader hard on Ukraine. Afterwards, Mr. Albanese and Sir Keir swapped notes during their informal meeting and vowed to keep pushing the issue, amid the spectre of Donald Trump appeasing Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war. The Prime Minister reiterated the need for G20 leaders to double down on support for Ukraine, a spokesman for Sir Keir said. Both agreed that they would do whatever it takes to ensure Putin does not win. Once more, China and Russia are running interference to ensure there is no consensus against Russia when the leaders release a joint statement at the end of the G20. Mr. Albanese said they were virtually isolated. Almost every speaker, obviously with the exception of Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and perhaps one or two others, almost every speaker mentioned in their contributions their opposition to Russia's actions, which make it an international pariah, he said.